WAOH is brought to you in part by Scooters Coffee. Visit Scooters Coffee today, East Market Street at Arlington, near the East End and former Goodyear World Headquarters.
Today I get to talk with Angie Haze. She is a musician. She is the Artist Making Progress featured artist right now. How are you, Angie?
I'm great. How are you?
I am good too. And I'm so glad you were able to come and just share, first of all, about Artist Making Progress, because you are the first featured artist,
Yes.
which is really exciting. So share a little bit about that.
So Artist Making Progress is an organization, a new organization, whose sole mission is to help artists like myself to realize a project and further their career, really.
Yeah.
So I'm really honored to be their first featured artist. I'm really happy.
Which is amazing. So let's dive into your project a little bit.
Sure.
And just share with us kind of your thought process behind it and why you want to do this project, why it's so important.
Sure. So I a couple years ago came out with an album called Time Thief, which was kind of created because of I went through EMDR therapy. I'm a survivor of sexual abuse and assault, and I really just kind of put everything into the music. And if you don't know what EMDR is, it's a bilateral stimulation that helps trauma survivors reprogram their trauma, so it doesn't feel like it's happening right now.
Right.
So if it's not that you forget it, it's just that it lessens the blow and actually helps to neurologically change your brain so that you're not feeling like that horrible thing is happening all the time.
Right. Yeah, actually, I was just chatting with you that I've also done it before. And one of the best explanations I had for it was it takes a trauma and it turns it into a traumatic event.
Yes.
Where you can kind of file it.
Yes.
Where it's not taking over your whole life. As you were saying, it becomes, yes, this happened to me. It doesn't erase it.
Right.
But it becomes an event versus being a trauma that takes over your whole life. And
Yes.
and EMDR was created, actually, you probably know this, for PTSD victims, because there really wasn't another way for them to process their trauma, and this has been proven to really help. And so
Yes.
it's just a really beautiful way to be able to take something traumatic that happened to you and be able to reprocess it.
Yes.
So I'm glad that you were able to experience that.
Yes, I was really inspired by it, and I realized, this bilateral stimulation kind of reminded me of like a clock ticking.
Ooh,
I
yeah.
listened to it, and it took me. I was realizing that through doing this therapy, I was going back in time, taking back this
yes.
really hard, difficult trauma that happened to me, and coming to the conclusion that, oh wait, I was the one who was there that saved me through this whole thing. As a survivor, you kind of live your life looking for someone to save you and looking for something to change, and an external like rescuer or something.
Yeah.
So I realized in this moment that, oh my gosh, it's me. I'm my long-awaited hero, and I've been there the whole time. And that not only changed my whole perception of self and feeling like I am enough, it really changed the trajectory of my whole entire life and my project moving forward. So Time Thief was really created because of this therapy, and I included bilateral stimulation in every song. So I came up with, shortly after, I made this music memoir project, which I'm telling my story. So it'd be like an audiobook, a video series, and a podcast. And so it's a little bit more personal.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to create this character, the Time Thief, which I hope to inspire other survivors to understand and realize that they are the hero of their own story. And you don't have to be a survivor anymore. By definition, yes, I am a survivor, but I don't live my life, nor do I believe that I'm a survivor anymore, because I have absolutely overcome my trauma. And that was throughout the help of EMDR and creating this art project. So I want to give that back to other people who are exposed to this project.
Wow. And I love that it's so, I don't know if interactive is the right word, but immersive. That's the word I'm looking for, that it's not just going to be your music, which is, of course, like, going to be a huge part of it.
Yeah.
But that you're going to tell your story, and that you're going to do this podcast, and you're going to just kind of immerse people in in the story as a whole, which I'm sure is also going to be such a cool part of your healing journey, take you even further down that healing journey. I think that's really beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I'm really curious to know this, and people who don't know much about EMDR are going to think I'm probably a little bit crazy for saying this, but were you actually able to kind of step back into your old memories and be there for your younger self?
Yes, this is literally why I came up with the time thief character.
Right.
Because it was, it really was going back in time and recognizing, oh my gosh, like when we dissociate with trauma, it's like you go somewhere. I kind of had this realization that the place in which I went was the true self, whether you want to call it soul, consciousness, whatever that is, holding me the whole time. And so I kind of want to change the narrative for survivors that, you know, we look at dissociation and we look at these things that we feel that limit us. And while sure they have some, you know, they do in some ways have limitations, I want so badly for people to understand that some of those limitations are actually superpowers. You know, being able to connect to that state of consciousness more quickly, and then, you know, which shows up in different aspects of your life later in terms of, you know, creating the life you want, manifesting, whatever, you know, it's a really important thing. I think that I want to remind people that, you know, while we might have adversity, there's also some gifts and blessings that come out of that, you know, may not have been there without that traumatic event.
100% agree that often, you know, our biggest growth times are in the midst of adversity or after we have come out and we have been able to look back and work through some of that. And there's a lot of beauty in it. And it's not that we want to go through hard things.
No.
Not that we want to wish that on anyone
No.
in any way, but we all are going to go through hard things.
Yes.
And then to be able to look back. And I love that this project is you looking back and saying, okay, you know, you're not going to take that time from me almost. You know, I'm going to take that back.
Yes.
This is my life, my time. And so that's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Very cool. Very cool. I know you need funding. We're going to hop over to that because this is a project that needs some money behind it. And so I hope that by people listening to this, they're going to also feel inspired and want to help you and other artists keep going. So share a little bit about that.
So the immediate goal right now is to raise the money for Chapter 1, which will include a video series, the soundtrack, and like all of these chapters are going towards like an audiobook too.
Okay.
And then also money to promote it, to submit it to different, you know, like whether it's a film festival or different submissions for things, you know, that we can further the reach. Because while I definitely want it to be an Akron, Ohio based project, I do have ambitions to further that.
Absolutely.
Survivors are everywhere. And I have a vlog right now, you know, that I did when I was doing EMDR, and it attracted survivors from all over the world, like in the Middle East to Canada, like all over the place. So I'm very, very passionate about making sure it gets to them. So yes, the immediate goal is 14,700. I think it's 750, I believe. And you know, I do have a team, for people with doing the production, video, you know, mixing, engineering, all of that. Yeah.
Right. So you need your team too. So it's getting your stuff out there, paying your team, things like that. Yeah,
exactly
absolutely. It's all very important. I also want you to talk about the collaboration at For the Record, which is Artists Making Progress Annual Music Festival.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it. So I'm going to be playing. I'm hoping to I'll have a full band. I don't know exactly, like, you know, when you go to an Angie Haze show, there's always some kind of different presentation of, you know, the music. So sometimes it might just be me solo on a piano with, like, I'm an earthquaker artist as well, so, you know, you might find some effects that are interesting there. Or it could be just like a trio. It just really depends on the show and, like, you know, the but there's always intent behind it. And so yeah, I'll be performing, but I'll also really be the goal that I have in all of the shows that I'm doing here on out is really solely focused on this music memoir.
Right.
So it is storytelling, it is music, but with a real purpose and a lot of clarity behind, what I'm advocating for.
Right, absolutely. And you were saying April is
it's
it
Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
Mm-hmm.
And so just trying to raise awareness for people who have gone through any kind of sexual assault.
Yeah.
And so that's a part of your story, but not your whole story.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of what you're sharing. And so if someone's watching right now and you need to reach out to Angie, even for just contacts
Or
and
resources.
Yes. You can do that as well. You're also welcome to reach out to me and I can put you in the right direction as well. We want people to know that they can reach out if they have a story to tell.
Yes, please. We do. I am partnered with different organizations that specifically are there to help survivors of sexual abuse and assault. So please, absolutely feel free to reach out.
I'm really excited about this project. Truly, I read through what you were doing and I was just like, wow, this is really meaningful work.
Thank you.
And meaningful art and putting it all together. And so thank you for using your story for good to help other people and appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. Before we wrap up, and I definitely want you guys to follow Angie Haze. So I want you to say all of your social media, the website, also where they can find Artists Making Progress. Can you give us all that information?
Absolutely. So if you go to my website, it's angiehaze, HAZE.com. So angiehaze.com. And on my website, there's links to all of my social media outlets, which is Angie Haze Official.
Wonderful.
And then AMP, there's a link to AMP, who is also my sponsor and partner there as well.
Wonderful. Yeah. What kind of music do you play for people who have never heard your music before and they want to check you out? What kind of music is it?
So, if you look me up on like Spotify, Apple Music, it's like a creep pop is what I'm kind of like creating my own genre, I guess. But it's cinematic. There's some classical influence. There's pop influence there. But I kind of went with the creep pop thing because it kind of just fit the vibe.
It's fun. All right. Very cool. Thank you, Angie. Appreciate you being here. Looking forward. You'll have to come back when you have the project done.
Yes, absolutely. That would be amazing.
That would be amazing. And we can set you up to play that time too.
Oh, yes, please. That'd be great.
That would be great. All right. Thank you guys for watching Good Morning Akron. We had a great morning here. Make sure you stay tuned because we've got more great stuff coming up next.